Good morning, everyone out there, and sorry, a wobbly. This is Ben Jones from Batdorf and Bronson Coffee Roasters, hanging out here in my little workshop space. Today, I want to talk about the Clever Dripper and Chemex filters. The Chemex filter itself, really incredibly thick paper here. Filters out so much of the coffee, gives an incredibly light and delicate body with all the removal of fine particles of oils. When those things come out of the coffee, we can taste a lot more clarity, the flavor. Now, we all know that I do love my Melita filters. There we go. But they're just not as thick, and they don't have as much filtration as the Chemex. To tell you the truth, some days, as much as I love my Chemex, the steep and release of the Clever is incredibly convenient. So, let's look at a way of merging those two worlds. And stay tuned, because after that, I have a special announcement, something pretty exciting, so stick around till the end, and I've got some fun news. All right, so I'm going to tilt the camera down a little bit. So we need to go from this to this so that we can get, turn that water off, it's annoying, so we can get this to fit in here. At first glance, there's a temptation just to fold the corner up and let that set in, but it's not going to work so well that way. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm actually going to unfold my Chemex paper, and then we're going to go corner to corner, or side to whatever this is. We're going to fold it into a giant triangle. It doesn't have to be perfect, because there's going to be some extra. Nice. Now, I'm going to assume that people don't have the number 4 Melita filter sitting at home, so the base of that hits to just short of 2.5 inches. And if you like the metric system, we could call it 5.5 centimeters or 55 millimeters. So, using that, this is a pretty simple and straightforward process here. From my middle point, I'm just going to measure out half of 55 centimeters, so that would be about there to there to there. So put my finger here, and I'm just going to fold this edge up. I'm just trying to mimic that angle from here. This is a great overlay if you want to do it that way. And then the same thing on this side. Fold those up, and then we can take our top side and fold that down. Flip it over, fold that one down. We now have, well, we've got a big hot mess. I'm gonna grab a pair of scissors real quick. All right, so with this, I can take this and I can just trim off all that extra. I'm just gonna cut, let's just do this. I'm just gonna round that off. This will be my nod and my ode to the round Chemex filter. So let's see how I did with my mimicking of my angles. I think we're going to be okay. All right, so from here, we can take this, and that will just fit inside of our Clever. So I can now brew my Clever on here. One of the reasons we don't, I'm going to use a brown filter for this one, because I don't use the browns for anything else. All right. One of the reasons we don't just take the bottom and fold it up, for one thing I mentioned, is that angle is going to be thrown off. You could then fold that around, I suppose, but that leaves an awful thick pile of filtration at the bottom, and I really don't want to have that type of artifact down there I forgot. If that one looked smaller, it's because I cut it down because I was making books out of it. All right, so from here, with the Chemex paper, because it's so thick, I do want to give a little rinse. So let's let that rinse and clear out. And for coffee, I'm keeping my same dose. I'm just sticking with the 19, kind of 20 grams, which is just enough to give me my mug. And there we go. Concerning grind size, one thing I want to make a note of, with that thicker filtration, we're going to have a reduced flow rate. So according to Darcy's law, it's going to take longer for that water to pass through. It's also just according to reality. I went ahead and ground this kind of French press, maybe even French press plus, just so I can really get a good drawdown without a lot of muss and fuss. Timer, and then we wet the coffee. No need to bloom it because we're full immersion, and the gases are going to escape, but the water has no place to drip to. I went ahead and just added water to the top of the riblets, and I know that that tends to be a little bit more. That's just the right amount for this dose of coffee. Again, something I love about the Clever Dripper is if you use the same dose of coffee, you kind of at 19-ish grams, the little riblets on the side, tilt you down a little, these little riblets on the side, those don't move, and the amount of water it takes to fill up to that point, that's the same every time I do it. So we have a scale if you want the numbers. If we just need the consistency, let's just bring it up to the top of those riblets. This is a great way to have a super, well, I'm going to call it a lazy Chemex, even though I did go to the effort to fold and trim my filter. And Joshua, technically it's not coffee gami, it'd be more like a coffee kirigami because we're cutting, but I'm just splitting hairs there. Most of my job is to be a know-it-all. Total steep time on this, I'm anticipating about a 2-minute drawdown. So I want to target 5 minutes of total contact time. So while this finishes steeping, I'm just going to put a cover on it. And let me talk to you about our special announcement. Today, very early this morning, we went live on our new website, which is incredibly exciting to me. So we just used, if you go to batdwarfcoffee.com, you're going to see a couple things. The first thing you're going to see is it's going to redirect you to dancinggoats.com. That's cool, that's still us. Batdorf and Bronson Coffee Roasters is the coffee roasting side of the Dancing Goats cafe chain group. Same company, it's the same people. This is the Batdorf logo. It's also used in the Dancing Goats. And thank you, Joshua has popped in our batdorfcoffee.com URL. You can also find that at dancinggoats.com. Type in either one, it will redirect. So the first thing you're going to see is redirect if you go batdorfcoffee.com. The second thing you're going to see is it's just going to look a lot nicer. I think it's a lot easier to navigate. Just a very much a welcome update. Super excited for it. The thing that I'm really excited about, though, is we've added, it's really hard to talk leaning against the counter like that. We've added a subscription service. So essentially, it's a 2-week subscription, and not every single coffee is going to be offered on the subscription, but that's for good reason. We're offering our blends that stick around all the time, the ones that we can monitor those flavors and keep them tasting really consistent. And then some of our coffees, I believe our Guatemala El Valle is going to be available for a subscription because we have this coffee year-round. It's one of the farms that we have been working with for decades, so we always have their coffee. It's always awesome. Super rad. I'm gonna go and take my Clever and set it on it that starts to decant. Beautiful. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So with the subscription, you just sign up, put in all your, name, address, payment information. Every 2 weeks, we'll ship you a bag of coffee. And what I recommend doing is pick your favorite blend and or your favorite single origin that we keep around all the time. Get that every 2 weeks. And then on the off week, go back to the website and order in, something more adventurous. Like we have our special Colombia, the La Illusion, or the Mexico El Triunfo. You can get those more special, limited run coffees. Those are coffees where they're sort of like one-offs. We just don't get them in as high a quantity or as much regularity. So that's cool. So you can still get the coffee you love delivered right to your house, mailbox, P.O. box, every 2 weeks, and then stop at our cafes and find out what's new and exciting, or go back to the website and order something to fill in the gaps. At our house, I tend to go through about a 12-ounce bag a week. I'm kind of the only regular coffee drinker, so it works for me. I believe there's a shipping deal on the subscription, so it makes it real nice, easy to just get your coffee going. So check it out, batdwarfcoffee.com and or dancinggoats.com. And let's see. There's our El Valle, ran through the Chemex filter, brewed in the Clever, and it's delicious. Thank you for joining. Today's Friday before Memorial Day. I will not be back Monday morning for as I will be observing the Memorial Day weekend. And thank you to all the people that we are memorializing, and enjoy your weekend. See you next time.